It's so nice, fall day, that I took my Honda to work today. I might even drag out the convertible. No, I'm lying to the Passat seized rear caliper and the rear tires punctured. So, welcome to another episode of Will It Run. This episode is probably should be called a Will It Knock because as the previous owner of this bike we are going to work on today told me the engine had a rod knock or something along those lines. Probably the oil pump failed because when we bought this thing it came with carburetors and two oil pumps and oil pump drive. These oil pumps, I don't know from which bike they are, but they are both different style and different size. As you can see, this one is thick and this one is small, and they both have a rotor, but I don't think the BMW have two oil pumps. Or does it? I don't know. If you know that, let me know down in the comment section. This is a Rotax 650 engine. So, as you from the title video already know, the last man standing here from that bundle of bikes we bought last couple of weeks is this BMW 650. This is the first gen of the BMW F 650. So, without further ado, let's get into it. This bike sat for some time under the little roof on the backyard. You can see from all amount of rust, and I already sold the mirrors from this bike, and here you can see the rust that was in this thread. The thread itself looks particularly nice though. We have some power to the bike, but it's not enough to turn over, as you can see. So I already popped the seat as usual within the hunt for the treasures, which this bike has none. And to access the battery we have to undo this rear left panel, which is not very well painted. Oh, and by the way, the previous owners had a hard time moving this bike around their property, and they laid it on both sides, as you can see from the mud, and I think they were happy to get rid of it. I bought this bike for $400, so I think it has plenty of good usable parts. Hopefully there is a market for these. They starting to die out, and nobody wants them anymore these days. The asking price for these on the internet right now is like $1,000. So the usual problem on this bike is this regulator rectifier, which I think has been replaced at some point, judging by the color of the wires. This one looks newer, and the original one I think is square, not it doesn't have these cut edges. So there's some fuel, some vintage fuel in it. Let's check the oil. The oil is non-existent. I don't know if there's any even in this motor. I will check the drain plug if it's tight. Then I try to refill it with a little bit of gas. I can see that the fuel is currently on, but I don't see any in this filter, or this filter is full and without no air. Filters may be full, hard to say. But anyway, let's use 4mm Allen wrenches. Let's get this fairing off, and let's connect our booster pack, our Hummingbird, to it, and we'll see if it turns over, and maybe it will even start on its own. I don't think so though. While I was unscrewing this panel, I noticed one thing, that this carburetor cap, the cap that covers the diaphragm, is patched with some like JBL stuff. That's maybe why they bought these those separate carburetors. Also, the clamps are not in great spot, so definitely they were messing with this carburetor and stuff like that. Also, I have my jumper pack ready. If you are curious what this is a Chinese off-brand starter pack. Those carry jump packs are really handy when you're working outside the shop. If you are working inside the shop, I think it's better to have this one that can be plugged into the wall. That way you don't have to worry about the battery in it getting low, and you can jump start things all day, or use it as a source of 12 volts. This one should have a 320 cranking amp, which is overestimated. I think it has like 120, 150 max, because you can't start diesel cars with it. So this thing is sufficient for the little motorcycles that I do. But good name brand, a really good one of these can cost up to $5,000 bucks. So we have this one that I bought for $50, and I'm happy with it. I have it for 5 years now, and it's working. Yeah, the switches are not the best, but they can be replaced. So as you can see, I have this at the ready here. So let's power it on. And also I noticed some sketchy wiring here, and that's not on my part. I haven't worked on this bike yet. As you can see, the connectors, the easy connects under the dash. So let's turn the key on. Let's put on the choke, set the light aside, and try to get it started. Can you see? Can we? Yeah, definitely revving. Let's shut it off quickly, and let's refill it with some oil. I can hear a knock, but I don't think that this knock is the crankshaft. I think this knock is the timing chain, but I made that call once already. If you remember to the CBF motor that was knocking, let me shut it off. The CBF engine was knocking also, and it wasn't the timing chain. And this sound is very, very similar to that. So let me put in some more oil, and we'll see about this knock. Well, the carburetors are a definite issue on this bike, because I can smell the gasoline inside the oil. Yeah, definitely. So let me get it refilled with some also diluted oil. Well, I added the oil. We know it runs. We know it ticks. But this is not the kind of tick that I expect from the crankcase. The crankshaft. I don't feel a coolant in the hoses. And to access the radiator cap, you have to fish behind this cover, as you can see. You can't see. Hold on. Now, can you see that radiator cap there? You can't access it from the bottom, but that's not really convenient. So let's get rid of these fairings. Let's tear those off and refill it with coolant and let it warm up, and we'll see what this engine is doing, what it's not doing, and if the only problem to this motor should be the timing chain, I think I will spend the precious money, the $50 plus the gaskets, like $100, which is my last money. I made a little bit money this week on this timing chain. So let's get the fairings off, and we'll see what we can do with this thing. Okay, I had 4 of these bikes, and I forgot that you have to get rid of the front one or the complete tank to get access to the radiator cap. But with that tank, you can see the grime and also the red silicone on the valve cover. So that means somebody was here before us. Also, check out this homemade. I don't know what it is. I have to trace the hoses. Is this like a catch can or something like that? This is made of brass and soldered joints, soldered these little nipples here. I don't know if that's a catch can or what it is. So definitely somebody has been inside this valve cover. So let's check the cooling system if we have any. Can also look at this tank, look at it, all that mold and grime on it. So let's check the coolant real quick. Got some moist on the cap. Yeah, it's full of coolant. So I just didn't felt. Now that we know we have coolant, we have somewhat oil. Let's shove it outside. Let's run it. Let it run for a bit. And I didn't check the oil light if it goes out or not. So let's shove it outside. Let's test it for a bit. And I know I have to make a hard decision. Do I want to proceed and look at this engine? If I do, I may be able to sell it for a bit more, or perhaps try to sell the whole bike for $1,000, make a quick $400. Or what should we? Oops! Step into the nuts and bolts. And what should we do with this bike? So let's clean up a bit. Let's take it outside, start it up, let it warm up, and we'll see what it does. So I have it running outside. I do hear a bit of a knock. I also for sure hear the timing chain, but I think we have 2 problems. maybe the crankshaft is really a little bit nicked. I'm gonna go on the internet and I'm gonna see what the prices of the head gasket and the base gasket are, and if they are reasonable, I think we're gonna pull the head, the jug, and test the crankshaft for the end play. If the end play in the crankshaft is big, then we for sure know that the crankshaft is bad. But so far, I'm 50-50 on it. Let's listen to this together. I just checked the prices of the head gasket and of the jug gasket. The head gasket is very pricey and it's like 125, I think. And the base gasket, the jug gasket, under the jug, is like 25. That means 150 plus the oil plus the timing chain for at least 50. That's not feasible, probably. That's not rentable for me. We'll see. I will drag it back inside and check the head. If the camshaft looks good and something like that. I think that the noise came from up top, not at the bottom. The crankshaft is more. You can feel the crankshaft pounding inside an engine. So let's get it back inside and we'll see what we get. I took off the valve cover and the camshafts are fine. The timing chain is a bit looser. That's definitely a little bit issue, but I don't think that's the main culprit to it. To this, the exhaust and intake clearances are, in my opinion, non-existent. I will measure that in just a moment. I pop off the plugs from the crankshaft, and I will also screw out the spark plug and try to pry with a screwdriver onto the piston, and at the same time holding the crankshaft in position with the bolt at the bottom, and I want to see if I can push down the crank. If do so, we have definitely in play on the crankshaft and this thing is toasted. So let me check those things out. Okay, I measured the valve clearances. No surprises there. This one intake valve has no clearance at all. I already bought one of these BMWs. It was last year summer when I bought one of these with this over tight valve. Maybe both of them were really tight, and this thing lost all of its compression, and the guy wanted to sell it for parts because of that. I found out that it needed just the valve done, so I did the shims, and the bike ran perfect since then. But this red one or the black or any other color being said would sell better than that one, eggshell yellow. Yes, it was eggshell yellow. That color wasn't that great. I will post a picture right now. Not a great bike, right? But I poked in there with a pokey stick, And I don't think this bike has a play in the crankshaft. Maybe the bearing is bad on the crankshaft, but listen to this. If we rotate it clockwise, you can clearly hear a noise that shouldn't be there, but watch, if I turn it counterclockwise, the timing chain starts to skip and all that stuff is happening. And usually you're not supposed to spin those engines counterclockwise, but it's not going to hurt them. And this one is making some horrible noises. So I don't know. I will see what I have to do with this. I think I will drop the oil, look for some metal shavings. If we have a lot of metal shavings inside the oil, then I think this bike is done. We'll see what we can do. Okay, so this footage is about 2 days later, and it has been easy to get it running, but it wasn't easy to make the call on this engine. And at first it seemed that it has some knock in it, but the day after that the knock went away. So what I decided to do is to dismantle the top end for sure, check the crank, put it back together, and that way we can 100% be certain that the crank is or is not junk. But the dismantle of the engine you will see in another episode. So hopefully you will join me for that one, and I want to thank you for watching this episode. If you like what I do and you want to support the channel or me, please hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment, all the good stuff that you know. So until then, I'm out of here. Bye.